welcome back to another edition of Rich T Racing. Now obviously today we got the big announcement that Sebastian Vettel will be leaving Ferrari at the end of this year. What's he going to do? Is he going to retire? Is he going to try a new adventure with a new team? I don't know. Personally I think he's going to retire, but who knows what's going to happen. But all we do know is that somebody has to fill that seat. Now, who is it going to be? Well, there are obviously loads of names out there, but for me, there are three names that are the most likely. Daniel Ricciardo, Carlos Sainz Jr. and Antonio Giovinazzi. So let's start straight away then with Daniel Ricciardo. Now Daniel Ricciardo has an immense track record. He's been in the sport since 2011 when he debuted with HRT. He has won 7 Grand Prix, he's taken 3 pole positions, he's had 13 fastest laps. So that track record then gives him something that Ferrari are in desperate need of. Someone who can help them deliver a Constructors' Championship or certainly challenge Mercedes consistently over the course of the season. Provided that the car is good enough, of course. And let's not forget as well, Ricciardo is one of the best overtakers in Formula 1. That's just another way that even if he's not quite on the pace of Leclerc, or if he's not quite out in front, he could still do some absolute dive bombs on the Red Bulls, on the Mercedes, or if he's having to fight through the field, you can guarantee that he will be up there. However, there is a big problem for me with Ricciardo and Ferrari. I just don't think he fits into the ethos of what they're going for. He ran away from the fight at Red Bull. He just did. I know that there was contract stuff going on, but if you look at the racing, from a racing driver's perspective, he should never have left Red Bull. He would have stayed there, he would have won some races, and he put himself even more into the frame of being the #1 choice for the next Ferrari drive. But instead he moved to Renault and fell into anonymity in a car that was meant to get close to the top 3, instead went backwards, fell behind McLaren. That move is going to completely stunt his career. And let's not forget the fact as well, he's 31. I know Lewis Hamilton, for example, is 35. He's still winning championships and destroying practically everyone. But I just can't see Ferrari going for a driver who's he's got a couple of years left in him. And all this stuff going through as well. And we can't help, and there's another thing I'm going to come on to more when I talk about Carlos Sainz, but it has to be said, the way Ricciardo and Verstappen worked, Ricciardo and Vettel as well, you can say, how much friction is there going to be with Charles Leclerc? I think there could be a fair bit. So let's move on then to Carlos Sainz Jr. Now Carlos Sainz has been in the sport for less time than Ricciardo. He joined in 2015, but he's also got a very good track record. He had a very good rookie season that was obviously overshadowed by the young gun Max Verstappen. He completely destroyed his teammate Daniel Kvyat when he moved to, when there was obviously the turnaround. He was obviously seen as decent enough to have a stab in the Renault. His time at Renault didn't go well, and I think had he stayed at Renault, or had the Ricciardo deal not happened, I think we would not be talking about Carlos Sainz in this way. It's the 2019 season with McLaren that just elevates Sainz to near God level. He was in many pundits' Driver of the Year. He was voted Driver of the Year on Rich T Racing. He scored a podium in Brazil, having started last on the grid, and was the first driver outside of the established top 3 teams to finish in 6th place in the Drivers' Championship in God knows how long. There's a caveat to that, in that Gasly and Albon left Red Bull and were in technology that wasn't quite as good as the McLaren. But he still did it. He still finished in 6th and still first driver in God knows how long outside of the established top 6 to finish in 6th. So you can see all of that is all building up. It's building Carlos Sainz up, and I think he is ready for a big seat in Formula 1. Really, should he be driving a Red Bull right now? Should he be teammates with Verstappen? I think he should be, but there is that thing as well about getting on with teammates, and this is what I come back to, the Ferrari ethos. They want a 1 and 2 driver. That's why it didn't work this year, and that's why I think they'll be quite glad that Vettel's going. And you look at Carlos Sainz, didn't have the best relationship with Verstappen, let's be honest. Flashpoint, Singapore 2015, Australia 2016. His relationship with Daniel Kvyat was not great. There were a lot of moments through particularly the 2017 season where they would come together and Sainz would be very bitter on the team radio, understandable, but does that show not being able to work with your teammate? We haven't seen Norris and Sainz come together yet, so their relationship is really good. They come across really well on social media. I think they've got a very good professional relationship as well. But it's the fact that Sainz is still young. He's still only been in Formula 1 a number of seasons. He's still really ambitious. He's still got his shot. Is there going to be friction with Charles Leclerc? I think there will be, and that's what I think is going to really work against Carlos Sainz and Daniel Ricciardo, and work really well in favour of Antonio Giovinazzi. Now, when you think of Antonio Giovinazzi, let's face it, you don't think of racing prowess. You think of a driver that's had a lot of spins through his career. Look at his first few races. Okay, Australia 2017, I think he finished 12th, but China, he span in the same place in qualifying and in the race, cost the Sauber team that was struggling for finances anyway an awful lot of money. That sort of thing. You think of Belgium this year, where he was in 9th on course for points, only the second time he would have scored points in his F1 career, and he crashed by himself. Apparently his future was genuinely considered at that point. You look at as well, throughout the entire first half of the 2019 season, Raikkonen, his teammate, scored 31 points. Giovinazzi, 1 point. That's not good enough. But the important thing is, in the second half of the season, Belgium excluded, he got so much better. He led a couple of laps in Singapore. He scored a point in Italy, an Italian driver scoring points on home soil. Finished 5th in the Brazilian Grand Prix. He improved massively. He got back onto Raikkonen's tail, showed that rate of improvement that a rookie needs. Now, obviously, the 2020 season has been completely decimated. What racing is going to look like this year, who knows? But if Giovinazzi comes in and shows that he's still with Raikkonen, in fact starts to outdo Raikkonen, then I genuinely think Ferrari will put him in that seat, because he's not going to challenge Leclerc as much as the other two would. Now, if Ferrari's sole aim was just to promote Leclerc and get him to win the championship and be that the way they run their team, then Giovinazzi would be perfect. But there's also the problem of, can Giovinazzi help Ferrari to a constructors' title? If the car's good enough, would Giovinazzi be the guy to elevate the team and properly support Leclerc in helping them to win the constructors? I'm not sure that he would be. I don't think any of us have seen that kind of spark in Giovinazzi. It could all change this year. Who knows how quickly Ferrari are going to make the decision on who to replace Vettel with. But if they make it soon, I don't think there's enough for Giovinazzi there to say, yes, he will definitely be there, scoring podiums, taking the fight to the Red Bulls and the Mercedes when the car is good enough. And there's also the thing of, would the occasion of being the first Italian driver to drive for Ferrari since Giancarlo Fisichella in 2009, which by the way was just a substitute role. Who knows? I've not got a clue who the last Italian driver to drive permanently for Ferrari was, but would that occasion get to him? Again, I think it would. But I also think that Giovinazzi fits in so perfectly to what Ferrari are trying to do. Look at where Ferrari have had success. Irvine and Schumacher established 1 and 2. Schumacher and Barrichello established 1 and 2. Massa and Schumacher established 1 and 2. Raikkonen and Massa, okay, not so much an established 1 and 2, but they were a perfect team pairing. You got, Alonso and Massa, Vettel and Raikkonen. When it's worked for Ferrari, it's worked when they've had one driver who's brilliant and one driver who is there or thereabouts, but not quite the same as the other one. And I just think Giovinazzi will fall into that category, and I think Ferrari will play it safe and go for Giovinazzi. I think he just fits into their ethos too much. I think if you were doing it solely on performance, solely on driving talent, it would be Ricciardo. And I think if you were doing it on logic, on seeing where a driver's trajectory is going and what the future can hold, I would go for Carlos Sainz. But for me, my head is telling me they'll go for Giovinazzi. That's my opinion. It is just my opinion. I could be completely barking up the wrong tree, and you can let me know in the comments. There are a load of drivers out there still in the frame. I heard Marcus Ericsson's name mentioned. That would be amazing. I heard Daniel Kvyat's name mentioned as well. That's not a bad shout, because he was Ferrari's development driver after all in, he was the reserve driver, test driver, whatever you want to call it, in 2018. Obviously it's Daniel Kvyat, but there we go. And then, you know, you've got others as well, Hulkenberg, Magnussen, Grosjean, however unlikely those guys may be, they still might have a chance. Sod it could still be Lewis Hamilton. Who knows? But if you've got an opinion on that, if you think I'm chatting absolute yarf, please let us know in the comments. Get the debate going. Please be sure to subscribe, like and comment as well. And that's the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. And all that was left for me to say now is ta-ta and farewell.